Hey, motherfuckers. Welcome to everyone's favorite show. Tonight, bringing you a special episode of literally the news. So, let's get started. Has been a while since I've graced your ears with my sweet voice because I've had trouble lining up interviews. So, had another one lined up for tonight. Didn't quite happen, but he's assured me that we'll be able to do it soon. So hoping to make that happen sooner than later. And the other guy, well, hopefully that'll happen soon too. But I do have somebody else coming in this week. But I wanted to get something out to you guys. Make sure that you got your fix of my voice that sounds like honey melting over a biscuit. Or whatever the hell you want to put honey on. I'd rather be honey on boobs, if you know what I mean. So anyways, let's just jump right into it, okay? So a lot of stuff's been happening. It's been a while since we did the last episode of Literally the News, and I'm rolling solo. This is a first for me too, so I guess we'll find out whether I've just been getting carried by all of my awesome guests, which is probably the case, but I'll leave that to you to decide. So, as I'm sure everyone's aware, I've actually addressed it a couple of times already. We've got a lot of weird shit going on with Iran. So, anyway, one of the weirdest developments so far is that the Dems are threatening to block the defense bill unless they get a debate about Iran. So the Dems are demanding a vote on an amendment to require congressional authorization for war with Iran. Silly me, I thought that was already a requirement for war declaration. But I guess we don't really care about that these days. Well, I mean, we do. I do. I'm assuming most people who have a head on their shoulders care about that sort of thing. But apparently the establishment political douche canoes, along with all of the mainstream news idiots who seem to think the only times Trump is presidential is when he's bombing the fuck out of poor people, they all seem to subscribe to a certain way of thinking. So, any hooser. So yeah, it's nice that they're finally pushing to take back the power that was theirs in the first place, and let's just hope that continues. But as for the shit with Iran, I mean, how crazy is everything that's going on right now? I mean, it's like Trump theater in some ways. Pardon me, sorry about that. So, I think it's interesting that and it's just, a lot of people have pointed this out. He claims to not want war and all this, claimed to drain the swamp, and he puts a bunch of fucking warmongers in charge. Is that because he got his arm twisted? Maybe. I don't give the guy that much credit. I think he's just kind of a big pussy, to be honest. I mean, let's get to the chase. I mean, he doesn't have a spine, and he'll do whatever is in his best interest. And in this case, apparently his best interest is to bomb the fuck out of other people and escalate shit with Iran. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with all of this. So, obviously they're doing all these additional sanctions, threatening even more sanctions, and then threatening Iran that if they do anything to us, they're going to get obliterated. What a guy. I mean, really nice guy. Oh, God. Like the worst thing this guy's done is the refusing to honor this Iran nuclear agreement. And it's just now, like, it has to escalate and push to the edge of war where we're really talking about pulling this guy and holding him to account. And it's just fucking unbelievable, the nerve of these fucking people. Just frustrated to no end. They're all on board with this shit 99% of the time, and it just, oh man. I don't know. Any hooser. So, yeah, I mean, everybody, it's a joke. It's the fact that these group of idiots are in charge of anything. And I mean, the Iranians are correctly pointing out how kind of stupid Trump is. what big idiot he's being, which, I mean, we all knew that. It's not like we've had any real geniuses in the fucking White House in any of our lifetimes. I mean, say what you want. There have been good things about a few of them, I suppose, if you're into that sort of thing. I'm not particularly, but none too bright. I mean, government's basically run by a bunch of losers who, I mean, let's be honest, they're a bunch of loser control freaks who couldn't make it in the world, so they're going to enrich themselves by making their buddies rich by getting into Congress and getting bought out and making sure that their corporate buddies can run ramshot over everyone else. Run ramshot, I don't know if that's even a word. Fuck, who cares? I'm kind of ranting about this anyways. Anyways, yeah, it's annoying. I fucking hate the war state. Fuck war. Fuck warmongers. That's about it. That covers that. On to something a little more interesting. Well, not more interesting, a little stranger. A man accused of murdering and dismembering a woman slits his own flippin' throat at his trial. It was a Tinder date. He had his girlfriend helping him out. So he sliced his neck with something that appeared to be a razor blade wrapped in a Band-Aid. But yeah, so his girlfriend was helping him to find these chicks and then hook up with them, and then they fucking killed this chick and dismembered her. They found her body in various locations. So what in the fuck? I don't know, man. What kind of chick is into a guy who dismembers other women? Or what kind of guy is into a woman who wants to dismember other women? And more importantly, where do these fucks find each other? It's like when you hear about, well, for instance, I mean, we've covered this before too. When you hear about people fucking goats or animals, there's a whole group of them that have decided, hey, this is a good idea. Let's go over here. Let's show this goat a real good time. Because, you know, he wants it. The goat wants it. He wants all of us to have our way with him. And then the other guys are like, yeah, man, I can see it in his eyes. There was something about the way that goat looked at me. I think you're right. Let's go fuck this goat. And then they go fuck the goat. What the actual fuck, motherfuckers? Where do you people come from? And why do those people get a vote that counts just the same as mine about the way things are ran in the country? And then we end up with fucking Trump as the president. And a bunch of spineless cowards in Congress who won't stand up to the war machine. So, I don't know. So this goes all back to the same thing. If you can't stop fucking dogs and animals, we're all fucked. So, keep the hashtag going. Don't screw the pooch. That's fucked up. So, yeah, man, people murdering other people really weirds me out. And people fucking other people or fucking animals is weird too. I mean, fucking other people is okay as long as everybody's like into it, I suppose. Yeah, I saw also it looks like they're voting on a bill to fund the migrant center shit on the border. So that's nice. I mean, I don't understand all the hubble, whatever. I don't understand why everybody's so worked up over all of it anyways. I do understand why people are angry about kids being detained and families being separated and shit. But I also realize that the same bullshit's been going on, and that I don't know, man. I'll be honest. I feel like at this point, if we're not just like, you know, voting from the rooftops, we're not really going to get anything done anyways. God damn, that black flag always comes out of me. Okay, next. I'm in Indianapolis, so this was interesting. It makes national news. The cathedral, a long-standing Catholic college preparatory academy in Indianapolis has fired a gay or same-sex teacher. There was been in a marriage, and people are really pissed because their partner works at Bishop Chatard High School. It came out their partner is still employed. They weren't fired per se. They were let go or they resigned because they were given the option to end their marriage or leave. People are pissed. I understand why. I don't really get a lot of things about the Catholic Church, but I was Catholic. I get that. I think it's all bullshit. Other than that, I don't really know. Too many fucking rules. If God made us this way, he probably loves us this way if you believe in that sort of thing. But, I don't really get... I don't understand why you would want to work in that situation anyways, to be honest. So, but I mean, apparently everybody really, it was hard. Like the school loved the person, but the archdiocese threatened to cut them off. They're dependent on that funding. And the other school was, had some sort of, Chatard has some different affiliation, and they're not required for the same shit. So that's why there's a difference between the two. Once again, it's some bureaucratic bullshit. So, here's a really good story. Cardi B, this shit is real awesome. Cardi B pleads not guilty to felony assault charges stemming from a fight in a New York City strip club in August. Now, yeah, I get why you'd be assault's not good, people. It's not good at all. But I mean, why are we surprised that a crazy lady like Cardi B, who's admitted to, I don't know, drugging dudes and stealing their shit, why would we be surprised that she was in a strip club causing a ruckus? That's what strip clubs are for. People always causing ruckuses, okay? I mean, why the fuck else would you go to a strip club if you're not looking for some kind of trouble? Because that's all that's there. I mean, even if you're looking for trim, it's going to be trouble because that's what strippers is. Sorry. If you're a stripper out there, I still love you, girl, but you trouble. Stay away. Well, also, my wife would be very disappointed and would probably kill both of us. So. Damn it, but I love Cardi B. There's something about that girl. I don't know. I really enjoy her face. And I think she's kind of cool. I don't know, but I like trashy stuff sometimes. Sometimes I can get into that sort of thing. Yeah, here it is. I found it. It's from the Independent. Iran says Trump's White House afflicted with mental disability and protest at sanctions. Once again, I can't really argue with the Iranians on this one. I don't believe any of the shit that's coming out. I don't know that I even believe there was an attack plan that he then later called off. And even if he did, I don't understand why he's patting himself on the back for deciding not to be a psycho. Although it does seem to show a little bit more humanity than any of our recent presidents seem to have shown when it came to any type of foreign policy. I like it being out in the open, even if I hate the guy. I don't really care. He's way better than trying to hide it. But the Iranians are right. He is a douche canoe. The sanctions are bullshit. They're acts of war. Don't like them. Next. I mean, that seemed pretty simple, right? Yeah, here, the Democrats unanimously, the House unanimously voted to whatever. Where'd the fuck? Okay, next. I lost that one. Yeah, here you go. Here's a good one for you too. The Supreme Court says that a law banning registration of scandalous trademarks violates the First Amendment. So this dude makes this clothing brand, and it's called friends you can't trust, or fucked for short. I like it. It's one of the rare occasions where I probably agree with the Supreme Court and think that they made the right decision here. I mean, this is just really going to clear the way for all sorts of innovative trademarks. I can finally do my fat cunt swimwear that I've been looking into for a while. So it's nice that the government's going to allow us to use our own judgment with that type of shit. So, and I guess, yeah, I could see why you'd be concerned if you think that words matter, but I also don't really think that shit matters, which is why a lot of people hate me. I really do. I like it when the Supreme Court, and we'll be quite honest, the Supreme Court's been a lot better about stuff lately than they had been. I was quite surprised at some of the recent rulings. So I got another here. Just a second. I got one more here for you. Well, not one more. I got a couple more. I got one more that's sort of news related. Sent to me by a listener at Collapsitarian on the Twit box. He sent me over this. The Facebook is monitoring the offline behavior of users to determine if they should be categorized as a hate agent and banned. So they're going through to see if you're endorsing designated hate entities like Tommy Robbins. They're even checking to see if users have a tattoo of a hate symbol. So what they're doing is now apparently Facebook is not only the arbiter of all that is good and decent when it comes to what's acceptable political speech. They are also going to be playing FBI and helping to apparently curb hatred. Maybe that's what they'll do. It seems like it might foment more hatred than it'll cure, because the way things are going, it doesn't take a whole lot to be accused of being a hate grouper some of these days. Yeah. Oh man, that's just really fucking interesting. So it's a leaked document, basically. So they're saying that hate speech signals will flare up if a user makes 3 slurs in one appearance or 5 slurs over the course of a month. And then there's certain signals, certain words that you can use that will signal that you're, a hateful agent or an agent of hate. So here's another cheers to our hero, Mark Zuckerberg, who has shown us all that if you just act like a fucking alien, you can be the weaseliest, creepiest fucking person ever, and people will continue to use your service. But, it's kind of getting to the point where if you're on any social media, you're supporting some kind of a creep. I don't know. I do appreciate that story. It's pretty fucking scary and sounds a lot like 1984 or 89 or 97. I don't know. Whatever. It's pretty fucked up, okay? I mean, here's the deal. We trust these, and you got to understand. I mean, if you're on the internet today, if you're using technology and shit, and you don't understand that you're basically giving away your privacy in order to use this, and that your data is being sold because you're a product, well, then you're kind of a moron. So let's be honest about that. Now that we've got all the morons out of the room, let's talk like adults. It is what it is. It's kind of the price we're going to pay. We should expect privacy inside of our homes. Yes. Anything else? I wouldn't count on it, bub. It's just you're getting in a world that's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. As much as I hate to admit it, we're just going to have to get used to a lot of that. I think we should fight as hard as we can against facial recognition software and all that shit, but I see it as a kind of an inevitability. Being a contrarian, it's my job to try to slow down progress as much as possible in those regards. But in other regards, I'm not as much of a contrarian as people would like me to be. So Yeah, good move, Facebook. Way to earn the public's trust, you fucks. But when we're finding out the Google execs, like, they're very politically driven and shit too. So, I mean, part of what the deal is, I guess. I don't know. It gets so, some days you just kind of wish you would take the blue pill and be able to turn it off and kind of just like wake up in the morning and not care that we're bombing Iran and or trying to provoke a war with Iran, or that we're helping Saudi Arabia bomb Yemen, or that, any of this shit, whatever it is. I wish I could just go back and be happy, blissful guy who would be happy if I just had a titty to suck on and some beer and some cocaine. Well, shit, man, I'm back. Okay, great. Okay, next. Now I got some, I'm an MMA fan, so I want to do a little bit of fight news. I've seen some pretty funny shit lately. I saw that fucking Colby Covington. Here, where is this at? So Colby Covington just got set up with to fight Robbie Lawler, and so he's set up to fight Robbie Lawler. It was kind of a last minute addition to, I believe, UFC on ESPN number 5. So he's taken that fight. He was kind of expecting to be fighting the champ when the champ came back. I believe he's back in November, Usman. And then, so Covington's fighting that dude. Well, meantime, fucking, what's his fuck? Ben Askren's already talking shit. Like, he's saying he thinks that this fact that that they signed that fight with him and didn't sign the title fight means that if he beats Masvidal, that he's gonna get the fight with Usman. First off, Ben Askren, man, he's kind of boring to watch fight. He's fun to listen to talk, but you gotta love to hate that guy. But I think he better not discount Masvidal. He could come out of there with his face ripped off, to be totally honest. Not that he's not a dangerous wrestler and could he could make it easy fight of it if it goes his way, I suppose. But I would definitely not count out Masvidal. And then Covington. So Covington's response to that is he doesn't really have a UFC win, which he does. Technically has one UFC win when he beat Robbie Lawler in that kind of contentious win. But that, he doesn't really have a UFC record, which is kind of true. I mean, he doesn't, and it would be kind of bullshit if he got a title shot after 1 or 2 wins when there are other guys who've been in the division working a little harder. So, I don't know. I'll be interested to see how that all plays out. I don't really care. I like to watch Covington get his ass whooped by anybody, so it doesn't really matter. He's annoying too. I don't really care for either one of those guys. Sorry. And then Holly Holmes is getting ready to fight Amanda Nunes. So that's going to be pretty fucking awesome. Nunes it's kind of fun. Yeah, here's Holly Holm interview. Nunes believes she's the greatest women's fighter of all time. And Holly Holm's basically like, yeah, you might be a badass, but you haven't beat me yet. So, and it is interesting. You look at the tail of the tapes, you look at all the numbers and crunch them all. You don't know. I wouldn't call this fight, but I would say Holly Holm has a hell of a chance at winning this fight. But I wouldn't fight Nunes. I've been in MMA fights, and I can tell you that either one of those chicks would kick my ass. Easily. So, but I mean, I'm also 7 years out of any type of competition and fat as shit. So, so take that into account when you're thinking about these things, people. So, what else I got on the block here? Bare knuckles. Yeah, this is fucked up here. Bare knuckles fighting is pretty fucked up. So yeah, Paul Mailing Mangliani got beat in a unanimous decision by Lobov. Broke his hand. It was pretty fucked up. I didn't watch the fight. I don't really care for bare knuckle boxing. It is kind of a lot of washed up dudes who are like shouldn't be fighting anymore. It's sad. They're just kind of hanging on to it. They want it. They want to be there. They want to hang on for dear life. They want to continue the glory, which I understand. I was a shitty fighter for a long time and hung on to it, dudes. It's better just to let go. But I wasn't. I was really shitty. These guys were good fighters, and that makes it harder to watch. When it's a shitty fighter who's always shitty, you're just kind of like, yeah, whatever. I mean, the guy's, I guess he enjoys it. So, that is fighting news, I guess. I'm not really. I'm glad that you guys aren't paying for this because I kind of feel like you should get your money back. But anyway, so all of that's leading me to there's something that I've been wanting to talk about. My buddy. So I don't know if this is like a kind of a talking about like heroes, people who like inspire us, And so today I'm going to tell you a story of a lovely lady who was bringing up 3 very lovely girls. I'm actually not going to tell you the story about the Brady Bunch, but I am going to tell you a little story about a guy named Elbert Gene Spriggs. So, Elbert Gene Spriggs. He is a true hero, an innovator, a man who was able to start a church, keep it going for 40 years while picking up kids that have along the way that had heads filled with acid and weed and booze and were depressed, because they'd been away from their families for so long. And the drugs just really weren't working anymore. That hole that was inside of them, it couldn't be filled with drugs. It couldn't be filled with dick. It couldn't be filled with pussy. It couldn't be filled with a giant burrito. But lucky for them, Gene Spriggs had the answer. Jesus wants you. So, this is a little story about Gene Spriggs and the 12 tribes. So apparently, let's see here. When did it all start? And the origin is traced back to the Light Brigade, starting in 1972. They operated out of a small coffee shop called the Lighthouse, and that was operated and owned by Gene Spriggs and his wife Marcia. They operated out of their house. So they had this. They opened they had the coffee shop. All these fucking people started living communally, and then they opened a restaurant called the Yellow Deli. So after they went to a bunch of churches, trying to find churches, they really had trouble fitting in because they were kind of fundamentalist weirdos. Not that the people they were trying to fit in weren't fundamentalists, but these people were apparently bigger fundamentalists and much larger weirdos. But a hero nonetheless. So they basically, at that point, they started holding their own services and appointing elders and baptizing people outside of denominations, and then started getting weird. At that point, they started getting more attention from local people when they started spreading to other towns outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee. So, the church has been through a lot of tumultuous shit with debt and everything. back and forth all the time. But the one thing that never changed was their love for saving drug-addled teenagers. And the best part about this is that when they saved these drug-addled teenagers, so they would literally take a bus. It was called the Peacemaker bus, and they'd recruit kids from Fish shows and Grateful Dead shows, big degenerates. I have buddies who are deadheads. They'll appreciate that, I hope. Please don't stab me, Dave. Anyway, so they'd go and pick these kids up, and, before these kids really didn't have anything going on for them. They were just, enjoying life, having sex, drugs, rock and roll, having fun with all their friends, probably staying in their parents' basement when they weren't on tour, maybe sucking some dick once in a while to get a grilled cheese sandwich outside of the fucking show. I don't know how these things work. I'm assuming there was some BJs exchanged for some sandwiches around this time, but that's not a bad thing necessarily, but it's still not as good as living communally and working in a motherfucking deli, right? Because let's be honest, folks, who doesn't want to wear homemade clothes and work and live next to the same people constantly while you're serving the Lord Jesus Christ? So if you read into this a little bit, so we'll stick a pin in that for a minute. So they're grabbing these kids and they're giving them a purpose. So if you take a look into this, their communities are really kind of tight knit. They, of course, aren't very happy with people who leave and talk shit about them. There's accusations that it's a cult, but I don't know about that. They only demand that you strictly adhere to their dogma and don't question it. And they only believe that only the people that live inside of one of their little fucking things is going to heaven. I don't know if that justifies or qualifies them as a cult. It sounds like most of the other religions. A bunch of stupid rules to make me feel excluded because I have a fat body and I do weird things for money. Well, allegedly. So, anyway, this company has holdings all over the world. And allegedly, I couldn't find video proof. I'll be honest, I didn't look too deep into it. Allegedly, old Gene here is running around the globe hobnobbing with rich people to secure all these investments. They got dozens of companies worldwide, apparently. Construction companies, all this shit that are bringing in all the dough. Supposedly nobody's getting rich off of it. This guy's just flying all over the place and has wallets full of credit cards. But the important thing to remember here is that he took all these kids who are wasting their lives, and other people who have families and shit, who are wasting their lives, and turned them into fucking slaves. And they all get to live in quarters, and they all get a fucking ration, and this guy's out gallivanting around the globe, probably fucking a bunch of hot chicks. Or dudes. I don't know what he's into. Maybe he's fucking fruit. When you got a whole cabal of slaves living in all these places, you can probably do whatever the fuck you want. So I just wanted to draw your attention to this little known hero. Maybe he's more well known to other people, but I just heard about him this week, and my God, it gave me hope for humanity. If we got people out there who are willing to put their lives on the line to give other people a purpose, to look like complete and utter liars and huge sacks of shit, just to give other people meaning in their lives. People who are so depraved and sick and disgusting now have meaning in their lives. So, when you look at somebody like this guy, or you look at, let's say that you have some politician who got elected who's really hates foreigners, but he actually sells a lot of really cheap foreign-made clothing. Just remember that he is putting his life and his reputation on the line, looking like a giant, huge sack of fucking shit, just so that he can rob you of some of your money to use to bomb the fuck out of other people on behalf of his rich buddies. Thanks for listening. Have a great week. I'll be back this weekend with another interview.